Good evening, everyone. Good evening, parents. Good evening, students. And we're looking forward to talking to you this evening in this slightly strange time, doing a virtual induction evening for our new Year 12s here at Aston University, sixth form. And I'm sat here in the school at the moment in our main area with the plane behind me that students obviously were busily working on up until the point of our closure. And we're looking forward to opening next week again for our students. And we certainly look really excited towards you coming and joining us across the summer and into September as well. So for today's presentation, we're going to talk you through, we've got a number of people who are here this evening to help us through, and I'm just going to click through. So we've got myself, we've got Miss Benny, who's the director of sixth form. We've got Mrs. Walcott, who's the admissions manager, and I'm delighted we've got Samaya, one of our year 13 students, as our VIP visitor tonight, who's going to be here answering some of your questions and talking to you a little about her experiences here over the last few years as a Aston University sixth form student. What I would ask you to do, please, is for those that are joining us today on Zoom, please can you make sure you press the Q&A button. I can see already some great questions are coming in around your choices, your options, and what you have to do. Any questions at all, please put them on the Q&A. My staff behind the scenes are going to be collecting those together, and there'll be a chance of we going through and answering those today. If you're not on the Zoom and you're watching this via YouTube Live, please use admissions@auea.co.uk. So admissions@auea.co.uk, and that information therefore will also come through for us to be able to answer this evening for you. The most important thing is that you leave today and afterwards, if you're watching this on repeat, that you feel confident and with all the information to make your transition into here at the sixth form really, really beneficial and easy and worry-free for you. So talking about moving from where you are, normally we talk from moving from the current situation of being in a sixth form into here as a UTC and into here as Aston University sixth form. In reality, of course, things are very different at the moment. And for all of you, you've all been at home working for a period of time. And as we go through the presentation tonight, though we'll be talking a lot about what's going on in terms of our normal sort of program, we'll be alluding to and sort of sharing some of the situations that have changed to do with COVID. And clearly, a lot of work has gone into my team, not only to reopen for my students, but also the additional work and recovery and support transition work that we'll be putting in place for you over the next few weeks into the summer, so you're absolutely ready to get flying on your courses here at the Academy. One of the things I talk about quite regularly is about standing out, and now's never a more important time to do that given the situation of COVID. It's going to be a case of that you're coming to this from calculated grades, and I'll talk about that a little bit later in the presentation. But we here at the Academy work really, really hard to give you so many opportunities to allow you to stand out, and this is a good example. Our large CCF contingent we have here, sponsored by REF Cosford, is a really exciting opportunity for you to put yourself forward, the leadership opportunities as well. And Samaya will talk to you a bit more about what she's experienced during this time, and even as live as yesterday, what she's been doing with some of the lead partners we have here at the Academy. That sponsorship by the RAF, along with the Royal Navy and the Army, is a crucial part of what we do and why we are different. It allows us to have additional facilities, it allows us to have additional resources, and more importantly, additional opportunities for you. And this is the head of RAF Cosford here, doing one of our main parades last year. Some of those unique opportunities include things like the opportunity to learn to fly. That's a fantastic chance for you to go out on weekends and some days in the week over to Cosford and learn to fly a plane. That's just one of the many different experiences, not just for the CCF, but things like the Duke of Edinburgh and lots of other things that Miss Benny will talk to you about shortly. A key thing of how we work is being different around employers, and Samaya will talk to you about Jacob students, and she's known as one of the Jacob students, and this is a picture of those students on the screen, putting forward their ideas to business. And being in a UTC is very, very different. It is about how you work alongside those employers. How do you get wider opportunities to network? And I won't steal too much of Samaya's thunder because she'll be talking about it, but there's lots of chances to go into things like the field gun you see here, which is a UTC Royal Navy affiliated competition, and lots of other activities. This picture was live from yesterday, and you can see Samay in the top left corner, and I'm sure she'll talk about it, but along with even the top vice president of Jacobs, one of our principal sponsors here, and many other senior executives from the company, with a large number of our students working through the outcome of their project, which Samaya will talk to you about. We're based here, and most of you have already been here to visit. You've been on tours around the academy, got some of you have come to this and maybe you haven't. And we're located on the edge of the university. They're our sponsor. We opened now 8 years ago, and they were fundamental in saying we want a UTC here as part of the Centre of Engineering in the centre of Birmingham. My boss is the COO of the university, Neil Scott, and I report into the executive team, and the governing board here is made up of the university along with those key employers to really drive our standards and ensure what we deliver in the academy here meets the very best of what university want and the very best of what employers want, and those apprenticeships as well. I'm very fortunate to get access to those facilities, whether that might be from additional science labs to engineering workshops to 3D laboratories as well, and as well as part of our transition and things like pathways into medicine. Just some of the few sponsors that you see on the screen now that we have, and they get involved in lots of different ways. And I've mentioned Jacobs already, but things like Kundals and RSS, where students have been going out doing placements. And it's quite common, especially on a Wednesday, for students to leave the academy and walk up into town and go and do work placements with many of these partners. And one of the other key things that the partners are telling us, and we've been working very closely with, we've always run business studies here. It's been a fundamental ingrained part of our engineering course, but we've seen a huge drive over the last 3 years around the number of degree apprenticeships within business and with finance and with accounting. So as a UTC, we pride ourselves on having that now as a specialist pathway for our students. So as well as coming here to study engineering, as well as coming here if you want to study science, we now have our third pathway and key area, which is business. And that feeds in and supported by Aston's Business School, which is internationally renowned for its work that it does at both a postgraduate and undergraduate and business level, along with many of our partners as well. So if business is something you're interested to find out more, this is a really exciting course to have a look at. I'm going to hand across now to Miss Benny, who's going to talk to you a little bit more about our pathways.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you for joining us. As you can see on the screen, this is also in the handbook that has been sent to you electronically. So this is something that you could be looking at in more detail after the session. But the pathways that we have at school are split into 5 different strands. I'm going to briefly go through them, but please take the time after the session to go have a look in the handbook for more detail. So we've got the elite strand. That is where you, the student, will get the opportunity to study 3 or possibly 4 of those A levels that we have listed. It's also an opportunity for them to pick up the extended project qualification in year 13. And it's for those students who are looking to possibly go on to medicine, or maybe to look at an Oxford or Cambridge application after year 13. There are entry requirements for each of these strands. So it's important that you go away, you look at the handbook and you have a look at the entry requirement yourself to see which ones that you are possibly going to meet. I understand that you won't know your results just yet, but it's something that you need to be aware of. Moving across to the academic route. That route again is for A levels. You will get a choice of 3 A levels to study. And again, that is, you can be picking up the extended project qualification in year 13. And the entry requirements for this course or this pathway is slightly different at 6.5, a GCSE average point score. So that is taking all of your results, dividing them by how many you have, and getting an average point score. Now moving across, this is now moving into our professional pathways. We have the Professional Plus strand, which is where you can study a BTEC in either engineering, health or business, and you can also study an A level alongside that. For you to be able to access that pathway, again, you need an entry requirement of average point score 6.5. If you just want to do the BTEC alone, okay, that is absolutely fine. You don't have to do the A level alongside it. And that is where you would apply for the professional strand. Again, that is just where you study a BTEC in either engineering, health or business. You do have the option alongside this to do level 3 core maths if you didn't want to do a whole A level. Finally, we have the technical route. Okay, this is something that we will offer in September, or there'll be some form of technical route offered in September. And this is where students will be studying a diploma qualification. And that is something that we will confirm and have more details about in September. As you can see, hopefully we have opportunities for everybody. So please take a look at that in more detail. I get a lot, this question asked me a lot, and it might be one of your questions that you were asking tonight, but what happens if I have changed my mind on the course that I have actually applied for? So most of you have already put in an application form, that's why you're here tonight. And you may have now changed your mind on what you put down on that form. That is absolutely fine, because once you get your grades in the summer, that is when you can finalise that course. So please don't worry if you're going to make slight amendments, but just make sure that it is a course that is realistic for you with regards to the entry requirements I spoke about before. Now, sixth form life, what is it like? I'm not going to lie, okay, you are going to be incredibly busy when you are here. The motto or the ethos of the sixth form is what makes you different. And that is something I push all the time in assemblies. The first day that you arrive here, I will ask you what makes you different to the person next to you. If you both are on the same course, you both end up getting the same outcome. Who is going to get the job? Who is going to get that university place? What makes you different to that person? And us here, we actually understand the importance of, yes, you need good grades and a good curriculum, okay? But alongside that, you also need to have those different experiences that will develop your personal skills. So whilst you're in sixth form, we will bombard you with all these different opportunities and experiences that you can then join up to, participate in. Okay, for example, Mr. Locke-Wheaton spoke about the Duke of Edinburgh. We have CCF, other competitions like Formula 1 and the Royal Navy Challenge, but we also have the long-term placements like Jacobs, which is when Samaya comes into the chat.
Hi, my name is Samaya and I'm head girl at Aston University Engineering Academy. I'm studied the level 3 BTEC engineering with the A-level product design, and one of the reasons I came to the academy, not only because it had the pathway that I wanted to go down, but because it really focused on my career, the career path that I want to go do. Because I chose engineering, it's something that I've wanted to do for a long time, and doing the BTEC engineering really equips you with the skills that you need for when you try and get an engineering job. Such as if I did A levels, I wouldn't have got all the practical experience. With the BTEC, you've got a couple of units that you do hands-on physical experiments, physical practical working in the workshop, and using softwares that are used in and around industries today. So that's one of the reasons I came here. Another reason I came was because of the opportunities. Doing the A-level product design, I had 3 opportunities to go to London and present my ideas for my final product to Artemidi, who are like an architectural lighting firm. They're really well known, and being able to present my ideas to them is one of the reasons that I was happy to be able to come here, because if I went somewhere else, I wouldn't have been able to present my ideas and get feedback from an actual architectural lighting expert. As previously, as Mr. Locke-Wheaton and Miss Bedney have said, I'm also a Jacobs student. So in year 13, every Wednesday afternoon, I had the opportunity to go into the Jacobs office, which is in town, and do a placement year effectively with them. So this meant that I was on different rotations within the company, going through highways, rail and transport planning, all these other different rotations, and just learning a lot of knowledge from them. And by the end of it, but yesterday, I did a presentation to all of them about my rotations while I was there, and hopefully I'll be an apprenticeship for them. So that's one of the reasons that you should come here, because coming to the academy, you have to make yourself different, you have to stand out. And if you go to another place, you might get different opportunities, But coming here with all our partners and with all the other opportunities we have, such as building the plane, being involved in RAF Cosford and the Field Navy Gun Challenge, it will make you really stand out, because having good grades is one thing, but having a personality and having extracurricular activities makes you really different as well.
Thank you very much, Samaya. Well said. So picking up some of those conversations now is around the calculated grade, what has been very different this year for you. And I know actually quite worrying for our students, and I'm sure for yourselves. Your teachers have put together the school-based predictions, they've gone off to the exam boards, and we sit in very similar situation to the real exams, waiting for those results to come back. You know, we fully respect the calculated grade, so we will be going through that process with you, and you'll be picking up those results in some form. In fact, at the moment, as a head teacher, I'm talking to other head teachers, and it may even be the fact that your results day is virtual. I do know that might mean some concerns, that you might feel that, hold on, the grade that I've got doesn't match my ability, doesn't match what I would have got if I'd done a real exam, and that's understandable. My message to you is very simple. Come and see us, okay? Be in contact with us. We have mechanisms to talk to you about that. We talk to your school, but we will also have internal assessment methods on the short term, which means that you're able to say, and access some examinations for us and say, you know what, let's do a quick exam, let's check out that knowledge to see if you're on the right course. And that's really important, because what we don't want to do is set you up on a course to fail, on a course that you're going to struggle with further down the line. We've also got the option, which you'd have heard about on the news now, around resitting exams in November, and we'll be supporting students to do that as well as part of the process later on in the November, December type of time when that will kick off as well. So there's lots of options. So do not worry, do not panic, do not think, oh my word, my grade that I'm coming out isn't right. You know, come and talk to us. We have that ability to look at your pathways and create and shape to meet your needs of what to get into the academy. And as I can see quite clearly, and as Miss Benny's taken you through, there's a large different amount of courses we have. And what I would say is pick up on the professional pathway. That is worth 3 separate A levels straight into university. In fact, our students, 52% getting the highest grades in the country, a triple distinction star on that course currently. So, you know, we've got fantastic courses, lots of different ranges for you. So regardless of the calculated grade, have that conversation with us in August, and we can sort out your progress through. So going into August, obviously the 20th is the date. As I mentioned, we are expecting it to be virtual for many different schools. So you might physically not actually go in and get your results. It may be sent to you. We are going to do a physical attendance system, okay, because that's important. We need to see you. We need to get you sorted and through. Clearly, that will be socially distanced. We're open in terms of socially distanced as well. There will be online enrolment as well. So we've got a blended approach happening. There'll be a set number of appointments per day. So it's important, and you'll be sent information from Helen and the admissions team in the next few weeks around how do you book a slot available for you to come through and actually go, very similar to going to an appointment at a bank and get that system processed. You'll have, as Miss Benny mentioned, the chance to confirm what your choice of course is, okay, and finalize that. Saying that, we still have some wiggle room in September, a few adjustments, so do not panic, but that's our chance to lock down what you're doing really. You'll have a chance to enroll on that course, which means filling out the paperwork or the forms online and the relevant ID checks, etc. So that will happen over the summer, ready for you to start in early September. And our aim is to get you started very early in September, because that induction process will happen over a long time. What's pretty clear is, and what's expected is, we're not all going to come back together as one large group. We're planning at the moment that there'll actually be a blended curriculum. So you'll be in lessons at some point in school within September, and you'll be working from home as well. And we fully expect that to go all the way through until probably October half term as well. So things are very different with COVID. You know, you can just sort of make out this picture here, different types of arrival. We have outside wash stations installed at the moment, because we know a lot of 90% of our students travel by public transport. So we've put a huge amount of additional measures and safety in place. We've got a large number of BAME students here. We've got a large number of BAME staff as well. So we've got lots and lots of different processes to keep everybody safe. And that, we believe, that will continue straight through into September as well. What's going to happen now, though, Miss Benny's going to take you through really the main sixth form handbook, which gives you a bit of the day-to-day life, and clearly we're going to present it from the format of being as normal, with some elements of obviously how it would be different for the COVID situation as well.
Okay, so I referred to the handbook earlier. That has already been sent to you electronically. So please, go away and, read the handbook in more detail should you require any further information. So key dates and times. So Mr. Locke-Wheaton has just spoke about getting you in as early as we can. So please note that these dates and times are subject to change, but the normal day for you guys would normally be, so you would come in at 8:30 every single day, Monday to Friday, and that is where you have your tutor time, or we call it learning review, LRG, okay? So that is a consistent time for you, 8:30 every morning. Your day is then personalised to you, so depending on you as a student, depending on your course, your timetable will be personalised to that. So your finish times will be different. You might finish at 3 o'clock some days, you might finish at 2 o'clock some days, and that all depends on your timetable. But as I said, your consistent morning time will always be at 8:30. So term dates, so again, Mr. Locke-Wheaton, like I just said, is getting you in early. We do have a very good induction process for the year 12 students. And normally I'd have about 240 or 250 of you all sat in the hall having the induction over 2 days. Obviously, we are unable to do that as a big group. So therefore we would be splitting it and obviously doing it over a longer period of time. So although these dates are in the booklet, as it says, please note they are subject to change. And once you enroll with us, we will then confirm those dates for you. So your dedicated tutor support, like I said, is called Learning Review. Every morning you will have your own sixth form tutor. They are there to obviously guide you, help you, answer any questions, review your learning, but also there to monitor your attendance, monitor any issues, help you, and be that contact person for the student, but also for the parent or carer. They will also be the person that goes through with them into year 13. And it is, an opportunity for both student and tutor to get to know each other, because tutors will be writing references for the students. So when they go into year 13, references will be written for whether it's a university application or an apprenticeship application. Right now, I've got tutors writing references for our current year 12 students who are going into year 13. They are already being written now. So it's important that that relationship is built up every single morning, okay? And they get a real good overview of your person, of your personality, and the different things that you are experiencing. We have some strong leadership within the sixth form. Obviously, it is led at the top from Aston University, being our main sponsor, but also within the academy. We have some contact details also in the handbook, because communication is key, okay? So I see it as a triangle. So between us as staff, students, and parent and carers, okay, to all communicate together, because if we all work together, we will get the best outcomes for the students. If you do have any questions or anything regarding courses or anything about safeguarding, these pages are the pages to go to. So please look at the information, look at the email addresses, and just send us an email if you have any questions. We have a strong pastoral team, okay, in the academy as well. Not only, okay, your tutors are going to be that touch point for you, or that contact point, we also have college leaders, and also myself, a director of sixth form. We also have Mrs. Acton, the assistant principal, who is also the designated safeguarding senior lead in the school. So as a big team, there's a lot of support for you and the student. Now, business dress, this is a question, again, I get asked a lot at the moment. Normally, okay, our business dress is a dark grey suit. You can buy that from Clive Mark, who is our supplier, or you can actually go to the high street and actually purchase your own dark grey suit from any shop. At the moment, we understand that that could be difficult for you. Shops are now reopening, and obviously online they still deliver things. But if that is difficult for you to actually purchase something, you know, that is dark grey, then we would ask you that from September that you would be arriving into school in smart clothes. So I would suggest trousers, shirt or skirt, okay? Just so that, you know, you are smart when you arrive. Please, no jeans or no trainers. But by November, we hope that all students will be in the sixth form business dress. So if it's something that you are going out and able to purchase at the moment, I would advise you to be purchasing something that is of a dark grey colour so that you can continue wearing it for the rest of the year. Now, there is a sixth form agreement. Again, that is talked to you, and you are reading that on your arrival here in your induction. That is something that is like an agreement between, again, us as staff, students and parents and carers. And that goes through different things like attendance, absence, different things, okay? And it also is an intervention chart. We go to the next slide. As part of the agreement, there is also an intervention chart, okay? So this is definitely probably more for the parents and carers out there who are listening this evening. So although we are a sixth form, we are still very much a school where we have, you know, very high expectations of our students in both attendance and in their behaviour. So these, this page just highlights the different types of intervention at different stages that we would apply, okay, should we need to. And like I said, communication is key, and this obviously would be something that you would be involved in and communicated about. Now, progression and careers. Now, it might seem a bit strange that, you know, we're talking about what you guys are going to be moving on to after the next 2 years. I mean, you haven't even started sixth form yet, but it is normal for us, okay, at Aston University sixth form to be constantly talking to you and advising you about your careers. That is something that your tutors will be talking to you on a weekly basis during Learning Review Group. It is assemblies that we have in school. There's opportunities that is given to you by the careers support department here at the school as well. We are very, very proud at the progression and the destination data of our students. And that is, you know, something that we will be obviously working with you guys with when you arrive in year 12. This is just a snapshot of those destination data that I just mentioned. And this is like a 5-year trend. So as you can see, in 2019, last year, I believe that's about 75% of students went on to university. As you can see, there's other percentages that went on to apprenticeships and also employment. Looking across to the next graph, the percentage of higher education students that actually went into STEM courses. Again, we have a high percentage of students that follow the STEM route. And then we also have a percentage of students attending Russell Group universities. As you can see, last year we had a spike of students going to Russell Group, but also an increased number of students actually going to the University of Birmingham.
Thank you very much, Ms. Bentley. Really appreciate taking the time to take the parents and carers and students through that. So we've reached the end of sort of the presentation aspect of the evening. We're going to form a little mini panel now with myself, Ms. Bentley and Samaya as well. And I thank you already for your questions, which have come in to both the email address admissions@auea.co.uk if you still want to put some more questions in, as well as the questions which have come into the Q&A button as well. So we're going to try and pick up some of those questions now. I can see the Q&A button, so I'm going to work through some of those and pick up and divide those up. And then Miss Walker is on there as well, and she's going to fire some questions at us as well. So we've got Manil Israel said, are you allowed to bring in your laptop into the academy? So I'll answer that. And very simply, the answer is yes. very much so. In fact, from September, we're hoping to have a scheme available to all students to be able to equip yourself with a device, and never more so through this closure period has it been really apparent having your own device really does help you in your studies. So yes, you can bring your own laptop in. We have really super fast broadband here for you to join on to, and also we're looking hopefully to have the ability for you to get your own device. We also have lots and lots of computer rooms here and resources for you. Okay. Sylvia, what would I have to study to become a civil engineer? Okay, I'm going to throw that out to Samaya, make sure I've got bottom of water. So she's been working with Jacobs, a principal company, obviously working with civil engineering and town planning and city planning and all aspects of civil engineering, and lots of projects like HS2. So what do you believe, Samaya, you need to do to become a civil engineer?
Yep, sorry. So you could just study full A levels, as long as you've got maths A level, then you can go into any engineering. But you can also study the level 3 engineering BTEC, because that still opens up a pathway for you to become a civil engineer, whether it's you go to uni or through a degree apprenticeship. As long as you get a distinction in the maths, the 2 maths units in the BTEC, then you'll still be able to qualify to go on to a course that will allow you to progress as a civil engineer.
Can I also add to Samaya's answer, which was excellent? If you know that you want to be an engineer, my advice is to follow the BTEC Engineering Extended Diploma pathway. You know, they do units within that course that has got further maths in there, mechanics, or the physics elements as well. So, you know, it is very much geared towards engineering. You come out with it with knowledge of engineering, very generic knowledge, because it goes across all aspects. If you're not sure, okay, what you want to be, whether it might be engineering or something in the sciences, then I would advise you, if you have the entry requirements, to apply for the A levels, okay, because that will give you a more generic information base rather than focus towards one area like engineering. But if it's definitely a civil engineer you want to be, do the BTEC course, okay, and then you can also as well look at the UCAS website now and work your way backwards. So type in civil engineering into the UCAS website, have a look at what entry requirements the universities are asking, and then make sure that you are making the right choices, you know, when you are applying to sixth form.
Great, fantastic. Thank you for that. You know, Adam Hussain says, hello, am I able to do one or all of my A-levels in year 12? So if you're following the A-level pathway, you will choose either 3 or 4 A-levels, depending on your entry requirements. You will do all of them for 2 years. Okay, so you will start, you won't just do one A-level, then another one, you'll do them all simultaneously at the same time. It's why you have to have such high entry requirements to do 4 A-levels, because that's a huge amount. And in reality, you don't need 4. In fact, all universities and apprenticeships seek 3 A-levels, so you would do them all simultaneously. Okay. Meadow says, what happens if my child's predicted grades aren't as good? I touched upon this. It's a big concern for parents at the moment, quite understandably, given obviously that, and we've talked in school a lot around often saying your mocks are really important, and this year never more so, because your teachers have used your mocks and teacher assessments from the classroom to determine what their teacher-based grades are. And of course, don't forget that won't be your final grade. The exam board will apply things and stats and data to that to either raise that or even lower it down. So it could be that your grade is lower from the exam board than what the school put in for you. So what would happen if that's the case? Well, we would listen to that, we would look at it, we'd be able to discuss that with the school as well. We'd also have the ability for you to demonstrate those skills. So for example, if your maths grade wasn't as high as you believe it could do, we'll be able to provide you with a maths exam for you to do, thus demonstrating you do have the skills at that higher level. Or we'd look at what your pathway would be, and you have the option to do the pathway within and resit the exam in the autumn as well. Okay, when will we be starting our sixth form classes is a really good question. So our aim is for those sixth form classes to start in September, probably within the very, it will be, you'll be starting to come in for your enrollment, your induction, sorry, I should say, within the very first week. So you'll be enrolled onto courses post August the 20th from results day onwards, and then you will start at the beginning of September. Now, in the COVID world, as we are at the moment, that will not be the usual, I attend every single day. and I attend from 8:30 through till the end of the day. We are fully expecting there to be a program in place where you'll have some days in the academy and some days where you're working on our online academy that we have, which is absolutely fantastic. Okay, I'm going to send out another question to somebody else. How do I know if I'm accepted into sixth form, says Ferris. So I'm going to hand that over to Miss Benny, please.
Okay, you will come to us to enroll on the 20th of August. Okay, so you will have your grades with you, and you'll be having maybe booked an appointment, or you would have gotten an appointment to be to enroll virtually. Okay, so once we've got you and we've checked your details and we've checked your grades, that is a point that you will know that you have got a place, okay, in the sixth form.
Okay, absolutely. So, you know, you would have received an offer from us of a conditional offer. So if you haven't heard from us, or maybe you've applied recently, we've had applications even now are coming in every single day, please contact the admissions team, contact Miss Walklet, and she will confirm, and offers are still going out if their space is there. So you will get an unconditional offer now this side of your results. As Miss Benny said, your confirmed place in the academy is when you've enrolled, which is based on the course and based on your results. Meadow picks up again. Do we still have to come and enroll on the 20th of August once we have our grades? Absolutely. So once those results come in, there will be an appointment for you to come down over that day and the subsequent 2 or 3 days. And now is over the next couple of weeks, you'll be sent the information for you to book your slot for that. There's quite a few questions picking up on the same conversation around travel costs and bus passes into the college. We do have several different things that we have. First of all, the local authority scheme does not apply to you. You're able to apply yourself for a post-16 bus card or travel card, which is discounted for you to use across the city. For those students who are eligible in terms of funding, we have a really good bursary scheme. Obviously, it's part of the government's bursary scheme, post-16 bursary scheme, which we put in place very early, and you can utilise that money towards paying for discounted travel. So we don't provide you with a free travel pass here. I know some adverts on some colleges do say that across the city. You look in the small print, again, that goes down for certain categories of students. So here we don't just give everyone a free travel pass. You do need to look at that, but there are bursaries that are available for you within the academy to support you should you need help with that. How will you be social distance in September is a fantastic question, and everything we're doing now is around how we socially distance. So the whole of the building has been designated for social distancing. That means that our classrooms have been segregated off, our workspaces. We have a lot of large workshops here anyway, which facilitate, and in fact, many of our engineering machines are already single-use stations anyway, so that worked quite effectively. We've got our places like the hall, even our restaurant has been turned into a large space classroom. We have social distancing mechanisms into the building, so we can take 40 to 50 people queuing up at different times to get into the academy. As I said, we've got external wash stations, we've got internal cleaning facilities as well to ensure that social distancing is maintained. And at the moment, students are only coming in at year groups at certain times, so we're minimizing the mixing of students as part of a bubble-based curriculum, which I'm sure many of you have heard about on the news and on the TV, that's being done in most schools across the country. So let's have a look. What options do the college offer to resit GCSEs is another question coming in. Well, normally we offer resits in English and maths only. However, this year, there will be all students have been given the option to resit GCSEs because of the calculated grade, and that will be happening around the autumn period after November. It will be A-levels will be repeated in October, around October half term, early marking ready so they're back by December for students to go to university in January this year, and then post that will be the new autumn examination, so probably around December time with results back in February. So according to the government at the moment, all GCSEs are able to be resat, and therefore that's what we're looking at. Clearly, the difference with our maths and with our English resits is we provide extra lessons and classes here to help you in those subjects. But we're in unusual times, and we're going to be working very closely with students. And if there's a large demand for students to have additional lessons in an area, we'll be looking to see what we can put on from a post-curriculum perspective, from extra tutoring to help you get those grades coming on. Forrest says the sound quality is really poor, so I apologise about that. I'm hoping that's improved during the presentation. Will the professional engineering route, so the BTEC professional engineering, give me access to a degree route, a degree apprenticeship, or do I need the professional plus? I'm going to hand that over to Miss Benny, please. That's from Zach.
Absolutely, the professional pathway is equivalent to 3 A levels, which is what Mr. Locke-Wheaton spoke about before. 3 A levels is enough to get you onto a degree apprenticeship or a degree course at university. Some universities and some apprenticeships will ask for possibly A-level maths to go alongside your BTEC. Now you're looking at the top end of courses and apprenticeships and the bigger companies that might ask for these. So it is important to do your homework and do a bit of research to make sure, you know, that you are applying for the right things at sixth form now, because obviously 12 months down the line, if you then start your research, it is too late to then add on another course. Okay, so do your homework now, do your research now, and make sure that you are applying for the right things.
Fantastic, thank you. Picking up a couple of quick ones. So is there a charge for the cadets? We talked about our cadet service. There is a small charge, approximately off the top of my head, I think last year was around £60 for the entire programme that you're in, but that includes your opportunities, your uniform as part of that, and they go very quickly. We'll explain more about that. In fact, there'll be a separate video for you talking about cadets and a chance to meet some of our main our cadet staff as part of that, and some of our cadet students talking to you. You also get the opportunity as students to do leadership courses through the cadets and even do teaching qualifications. So all things that stand out really well on your CV, and also, as Miss says, into your UCAS perspective. We've mentioned that. So what happens if I don't get the grades to do A-level science, even though that's what I want to do in the future? Zara, it's a good question, and I hope you're not too concerned about that. But my simple answer is, come and see us in August and let's have that conversation. Let's look at what you do. We have a professional pathway for science as well, which opens, and that goes straight through now as well. Many of the universities have changed their routes. Historically, it used to be for engineering, the vocational route took you straight to university, but for sciences, you had to do A-level. That's changed dramatically over the last couple of years, especially with the introduction of exams in BTEC. As a result, you can now go through into many courses, even in things like pharmacy at Aston, straight through from the BTEC science as well. So it's not a closed door. If you don't have the grade to do A-level science, we have other pathways for you, which will take you on to university or into apprenticeships for science. Savant Khan says, QCF level 3 engineering, can I be able to go to university? I think we've answered that. Absolutely. Okay, you can go straight from, in fact, as Miss Benny said earlier, and I'll just reiterate that point. If you want to be an engineer and you know you want to be an engineer, there's no better course. Yes, you could do A-level maths and physics, which will give you the requirement and the theory, but you come away after 2 years and you're not an engineer. Do the engineering course, that's 18 units, you come away as an engineer. In fact, many of our students have a higher level of skill, especially in CAD, than some people working in the standard workplace, and they get offered jobs straight away as well in terms of their apprenticeships because of their CAD skills. When did year 12 sixth form start? When they start in June 20 or July? So you will actually start in September, the start of September. You will need to enroll now. However, we will be sending you transition work and work that you can be keeping up. And there's questions flying in here now as well. Will the school support a laptop? I think you've answered that. Yes, we will be having a laptop scheme that will launch for you. Is Aston a good place to start if you aspire to pursue a career in neuropharmacology? What a fantastic thought process that you're already starting to narrow down and think, you know, neuropharmacology, the impact of, you know, chemicals and pharmacy around the brain. Yes, absolutely. You know, our course, and obviously if you're referring to us as a school, yes, we provide the foundation route into that. Or is Aston University a great route? very much so. It's got a really strong pharmacology and neurology department. And in fact, one of the scientists that comes in and works with the students in the BTEC science group is the lead for neurology and stuff. So lots of chance to get that experience as well. If we choose to change paths, would any places be left at Kushba Kumari? That's a really fantastic question. Clearly, it comes down to an element of the induction enrollment period in August of those courses fill up, and we fill them up in an order. So yes, if you change your pathway and the course is full, we won't be able to accommodate it. If you're already thinking now you want to change that course, that's not a problem. Let us know and we'll make that decision early in August, but you'll be kept up to date with that as we move forward. What's the best engineering there is? Well, that's a huge question and it depends on who you answer, but I'm going to bring Samaya back in again because I think what came out yesterday from me listening to the student presentations is actually so many students start off with a very narrow view of what they think engineering is, maybe around chemical or electrical or mechanical. So Samaya, what's the best engineering? What do you think and what's your view in terms of, is there such thing?
I mean, there's no such thing as the best engineering. Engineering itself is really broad. For me personally, from doing the BTEC, I've still got a soft spot for electronics engineering. That'll always be my favorite. But, you know, there's so many broad ones. You can go down mechanical, civil, biomedical, electronics. Those are the main ones. But within them, you have so many other disciplines, such as if you go down civil, you can specialize in highways, structures, bridges, railway, transport planning, geotechnical. It's so broad. So there's no one such best engineering. It's what you prefer. It's your preference.
And when you went to Jacobs, obviously you mentioned rotating around lots of different areas in the company, including many that you just mentioned, the highways, the rail and bits. So, you know, what did you go in there not knowing and you left thinking, actually, that's something you found really interesting?
Yeah, so the transport planning team, I didn't even know existed. I thought it was under the highways team. It's a whole different section that focuses on making the roads a safer place and making it easier for people to access different services. So that one was really interesting, and that was the one that I actually enjoyed the most. So I'm looking at that for my future.
Fantastic. You had to do a project while you're there, replanning and redesigning a section of Birmingham.
Yeah, Red Hill Junction, yeah.
Red Hill Junction, fantastic.
And the software that I used in college was actually one of the softwares that they used there. So I'd already had all the knowledge, so I just went straight into it. So that's another reason you should do the BTEC.
Fantastic, good answer. So what would I need to study? Aerospace engineering, absolutely. Either A-level maths, A-level physics, or the BTEC engineering will take you in. What about a chemical engineer from Persia? Really good question, because chemical engineering is the one area which is slightly different. Okay, with chemical engineering, you do need to do A-level chemistry. Okay, it's the one clear area of engineering they require a specific A-level for. So if you are wanting to do chemical engineering, you need to do an A-level in chemical engineering in terms of chemistry at A-level, or in a foundation year, pick up chemistry as part of that. Before I go on to home learning, in A-level product design, would you do a portfolio like art? Well, that's going straight back to Samaya, who's done her portfolio.
Yeah, so in your final year, in year 13, when you start your end of year project. Basically, it's a whole year project, and from the beginning you start a portfolio, putting together your journey of your project, where you started it from, how you got your ideas, and the end project, all your manufacturing and things. So that's your whole digital portfolio.
Brilliant. Adam Hussain says, how long is break and lunch, and can you go to town during breaks? Miss Benny.
Great question. Yes, break and lunches. So on the timetable, you will get specific break and lunch time. So break time is, remember now, 30 minutes, and lunch time is 40 minutes. You will have other times on your timetable where we call them independent study. And obviously that is a time where you can revise, do your assignments, be in a library, but it's also a time where you can be downstairs in our coffee shop area, where you can be buying or having a coffee. Okay, we've got a very professional environment downstairs for you, where you can be having a coffee whilst you work at the same time. If you want to be going off-site to access the shops that are local to us, that is also fine. Then you can do that during your lunch times.
Thank you very much. I'm going to pick up a couple of questions that are coming together around home learning. So how long will home learning last? Well, we don't actually know at the moment. the talk at the moment could be we're all back in September. We are working on a plan that we believe that will carry on until October half term. Sounds a bit scary, but that's what we believe at the moment. So there'll be a blended option of being in school as well as being at home as part of it. What happened to people, says you see, if we don't have a device or can't work from home? So we will have options for you to come into school, especially if you cannot work from home. Equally, we even have facilities for you to hopefully get a device, as well as we have members of staff, even at the moment, going around to my existing students who don't have access and providing physical copies and paperwork and stuff to help and support them. So we've got a fantastic team who help and support you wherever your circumstances can be. Okay, Abdullah Zain Masood answers a really good question. What facilities are you providing for dropping children off due to the clean air zone? So I suppose it's a couple of questions you might be coming for. One, how are we promoting the clean air zone with students and with staff, etc.? Yes, we're looking at cycle schemes and other options. As a parent, how can you drop them off without being charged for dropping your child at school, I suppose is what you might be asking, which is a fantastic question. Well, first of all, the clean air zone has been pushed back quite a way because of the COVID situation. Yes is the answer. There's be locations that are outside. Our building, as you would have gathered, sits adjacent to the start of the clean air zone. We're working with the local authority to create designated drop-off points and safe crossing points to the academy, which means that you can drop off away from the school slightly on the other side of the road without being charged, and students can safely make their way across the road into the academy. Okay, just picking up some others. Shah Begum says, do you have any sports or recreational clubs? Well, that's straight to Miss Bedney as one of our lead PE staff.
Absolutely, because, you know, healthy body, healthy mind and all of that. So, you know, we have our own school gym on site where you can use your independent study time to have a break from your studies and use the gym. And you can do that without supervision. We trust you to behave correctly in there. There's also opportunities for you to be taking part in other sports clubs on club nights. So that's after school at 4 o'clock. So we have football teams, basketball teams, we have table tennis clubs as well. On top of all of that, we have a good link with Aston University and their sports department up there. And we obviously use and share all of their facilities. And we also have access to their larger gym and their sports centre. So Year 12 students actually have exclusive access to that on one evening a week between, like this year it was between the times of 3 till 5 on a Tuesday afternoon. I'm not sure what day or time it will be going into next year, but that is something that we would also have access to.
And I think, Miss Begum, that answers your question in regards to Tuesday night as well. As Miss Benny said, that's the club night that we're involved with. There's lots of different activities. And the other thing that changes every year, because we have new students that come in and say, I wish to do this. And we go, fantastic. We have pots of money set aside for different student activities for them to come and form clubs. And that's ranged from Warhammer through to some engineering clubs or whatever it might be, even down to band and music. A good question's come in from Abdullah Masood around, is there any preference? Do our students get a preference from Aston University to enter the medical school? So we have a real good affiliation with the medical school, and more importantly, they have a really strong program called the Doug Ellis scheme, which provides students with additional work placements, training, workshops and access to the university. And all schools in Birmingham and around have access to that course. What we enable to do is we get extra places. So I think this year we had an increased number of students on that pathway program as well. And equally at the same time, because you're getting that contact through with the different people in the medical school, that really supports and helps as well. We are working very closely with the university to really lock down our record to enable those students to get additional opportunities. And one of the things that does happen is through our process of post results, we are in continual communication with the university, and they're able to take that into account, even now, especially with calculated grade, and be able to give those places through to our students, which is really a really fortunate position to be in. Just picking up a few more questions now. If I resit, am I sent back a year? And another question was, if I resit and I get a lower grade in my resit grade in the autumn, will that count? Well, to answer that question is what will happen this year, the government have confirmed, is that both grades, the highest one will count. So if you had a go at resitting and you did get a lower grade than the calculated grade this year, it doesn't matter. Normally it would, but this year under the rules, it doesn't matter. Okay, your highest grade would count. If you choose to reset, am I set back a year? Possibly is the truth. I always tell you the truth in this, Hannah. So it may be that if you're thinking, actually, I don't have the grades that I want to do what I want to do, and I want to wait a year, that gives you your opportunity. We are looking to see what our options would be for a mid-year joining of some students, maybe on a pre-apprenticeship course or a pre-training course, to allow you means that you're not just sat at home, that we could offer you something partway through the year if you choose to do that as a pathway. What sort of facilities are available, says Hisham? Well, that's a massive question, obviously, depending on what facilities you're talking about. So I'll hand across to Miss Benny to talk about just some of our facilities, maybe.
Okay, so facility-wise, we've got a number of engineering workshops, large engineering spaces with industrial equipment inside of them. So you'll see in one of the product design rooms, they have like double screens where you can be doing all your CAD and your Fusion work, so it's easier to be able to do on a double screen. We then, on the next floor up, we then have got an array of science labs, where again at A level you'll be carrying out your different PAGs, your practical assessments within that subject or within that science subject. On top of that, you know, each subject have like an allocated computer room as well. So for a lot of the students, they have got work to be doing on a computer, especially with the BTEC students. So they have their own computer rooms. We have a very large learning development centre, the LDC, which is where I'm currently am at the moment. So that is a very busy area, especially around deadline days where students are working on their assignments. But it's also an area where you can get that extra support. Likewise, the student support area, that is an area where you can go and see a teaching assistant or have someone in there just to support you and help you with your assignments or with any issues that you might have. And then on the top floor, you know, we've got a number of dedicated maths rooms and English rooms and a product design room as well with, again, different like 3D printers in, all different types of industrial equipment that students will get the chance to use.
One of our aims is for those students who have yet to be in the academy is now we are back open again, we're in the ability to offer tours, socially distanced clearly, and we'll be arranging those dates out to you so you can come and have a look around the academy and see us. And also for those parents and students who want to see our social distancing, it's a good example to come and see that. Hannah mentions quite nicely into that. What is there's a second wave of COVID-19? What procedures will be made? Well, we don't know, but actually we're expecting there will be. We may see more closures. What procedures been made actually is that all of our learning is available for you online, as well as obviously looking at things like equipping you the devices and bits and pieces around that. Virivad says, can I get an apprenticeship in JLR? Potentially, and we've had a number of students that have gone through to it, but I will never promise anything. It goes back to what Miss Benny and Samaya have said about how you make yourself different, how you make yourself stand out. I'm not going to lie to you, things are challenging at the moment. You've only got to listen to the news to hear about employers releasing staff at the moment and redundancies because of COVID as well. But we are still seeing people offer apprenticeships. And a good example, as Samaya said, for example, like the Jacobs apprenticeships, is those students that have gone out and gained those additional and specialist experiences with us, with employers, stand out. So that's really important as part of it. Coming into some final questions then, some quick ones. Does the sixth form have an orchestra band? How do I join? Well, we have a number of clubs actually in a band form this year. We're also got a lot of access in the city to a lot of the wider orchestras as well. We don't have a discrete orchestra as a large school because of the nature of our STEM curriculum. But we have a huge amount of artistic and creative talent and dance here as well, and therefore that is something we're always interested in putting together and working with. Someone else has come in, maybe missed the earlier bit, but will we look normal in September? We don't know. My presumption, says Mr. Locke-Wheaton, said it could be different. I do agree. I do think it will be different. I think it will be around masterclasses, around shorter days and certain days for different people. Lots of questions coming from Jamar. Nice to hear you on Jamar as well. So how will work placements work in relation to COVID-19? Well, at the moment, those work placements are virtual, and we've had students even doing virtual work placements over the last few weeks, and that's getting involved with projects of the employers, even down to like Samaya's project that she looked at in terms of that junction. That's something you could work at home, accessing the software, putting it together and presenting it back like Samaya and the other students did yesterday virtually, and not just to anybody, but to the very top bosses in the entire country on a in fact the world, in a multi-billion pound company. Does Jacobs offer degree apprenticeships? It's come up. Yes, absolutely. In biomedical engineering, no. Jacobs is a wider solution service focused around many areas, but specifically around rail. In fact, Samaya, you better answer this for me because you've been there and worked on every single one. So how would you describe Jacobs and what they do?
Yeah, so they're a big building service, civil. They mainly focus on civil engineering, but they do bit of architecture, a bit of cities and places, and they're expanding into looking more at their cities and places range. But it is mainly just civil, you know, highways, rail, geotechnics, transport.
Perfect, thank you. Will A-levels be calculated? A-level results be calculated like GCSEs will? Well, we don't know. Certainly next year, the first year through, we're expecting there to be some calculated grades, absolutely. By 2 years, we're clearly hoping that we're going to reach a point of those being settled. Will uniform be like in September? Take into account public transport. So as Miss Benny mentioned earlier on, we want smart dress, okay, but it needs to be washable. Okay, that's really important. So lightweight clothing that's able to be washed, which is why we're saying potentially it doesn't have to be a non-washable suit at the start of September, but we hope by November we'll be in the position to have that. But you need to be smart shirt, and then smart trousers, skirt, etc., and smart shoes, please. Wearing a jacket or a jumper on the public transport and taking it off. And if you want to find out more about that, go to YouTube, search up AUEA, and a video was released about 10 minutes ago from us to our existing students about what they need to wear coming to the academy, and that will certainly help you. So I think that answers, I've got a few thank yous coming in now from a few members. So I'm just going to head across to Miss Walklet, just for those that are on YouTube. If there's anything we've missed, we've covered a huge amount of questions there. And what I would say is, especially if you're watching this back, not live, send us those questions. We're always answering them. We've got a Q&A session on our website as well. So we love getting questions, and we especially love the ones that we haven't thought about. And we will make sure you get those answers back. So Ms. Walklet, any questions that we've got coming online?
We've had a few questions. I think a lot of it has already been answered. Any questions that haven't been answered today, we will get back to you directly. A lot of questions just around about laptops, what sort of specification do they need for if they're going to do engineering, and also about the laptop scheme. So more information is required about that.
Okay, wonderful, thank you. I think the simple answer is we'll send you some details around what type of spec a laptop is. Clearly you want to get a laptop that will fulfill, depends on the course you're doing, but fulfill your needs. We're seeing quite a lot of our students with Chromebooks. That's brilliant. They're a lot cheaper to buy. They're easy to use. They're lightweight, good battery life. They're fantastic for writing up your assignments, putting your work together, doing your research. Clearly the aspect they don't do is the online CAD. One of the things we've seen change over the last couple of years is a move from programs being on your computer to being cloud-based. So the simple answer really is, if you're going to go for a laptop, if you know you're doing engineering, go for one with a higher processor as you can afford, really, and that will help process some of that rendering that you do when you're processing your CAD work. But if you're thinking just in terms of, I want a device better write up my studies and put all of that together, that's what will come from being your, say, even a Chromebook could work quite effectively as part of it. Okay, one of the things that I'll be sending out to you, and Miss Benny will be communicating, is the transition work, which will be coming from the staff here. So we know that, you know, you're not going back to school, and most of you are now saying, well, what do I do? How do I get ready? And of course, that's a vital question. So on our website, we'll be releasing to you lots of work that you can get started in, and even the fact that you can download that CAD software at home early and start to play and get to use some of those facilities. And it's not hard, because I've had in homeschool my 10-year-old downloading it and having a play with it. So, you know, we've got all the videos available for you, and those instructions of how to get you introduced to those skills. So when you start in September, you're absolutely flying. Any other questions from anybody, Miss Walklett? Otherwise, we'll look to draw that to a close this evening. And I look forward to having the opportunity to meet in person properly soon.
There's no further questions. Some of them are quite specific, so I will go back to you personally. So thank you very much.
Good. You know, that's a fantastic, we've really enjoyed this evening. Thank you to Samaya, Miss Benny, but Samaya for giving up your time and coming in here. And I'm sure Samaya's happy to also get some questions and answer those as well for you. And we've also got the chance to have some of our other students answer some questions at a later point. So a huge thank you to the Baker Deering Trust and Ross for supporting this evening with facilitating this virtual event. It's been really nice to have the opportunity to not only share our plans and our day-to-day life in September, but also a fantastic Q&A session with some brilliant questions. And we really look forward to being back here with you in September as Year 12 students. So take care, be safe, and we'll see you soon.